For this video, we will be discussing and I will be demonstrating to you how or a good technique in creating your elevation plans from your kitchen views. And also you can use this technique when you are creating your bathroom elevations as well. So right now in front of me, I have my floor plan in the direction in which I would like to draw my elevation. The symbol is telling me that it is an elevation view of the wall up top. So what I will be drawing is everything that is in this view. The cabinetry, the oven range, the stove, the dishwasher, and all of the cabinetry that lies between these elements. So I have already taped down my elevation guide, which is my floor plan, to my drafting board. What I'm going to be doing now is grabbing my clear trace paper. This is on a thin roll in your drawing kit. And as you can see through it. It is very transparent. And the technical name for this is called trace paper or trash paper. And I'm simply gonna unroll just a little bit of it, or however much I need. A good way to tear, you can either just rip it off, or if you want to be a little bit neater, like I choose to be, I'm just simply taking my triangle, forming a straight line, and then begin to tear it so that it's kind of a clean end. And I can simply take my roll and put it away for now. And now you have your trash paper that you're going to be using to draw your elevation on. Now right now our drawing tells us that this drawing is in a 1/4 inch scale. So all of our measurements will be in a 1/4 inch. Our elevations that we're going to be creating must be in a 1/2 inch. But what we need to do here is create our elevation view at the 1/4 inch scale. And then once we have those measurements, we can convert them up to a 1/2 inch scale and then draw them to the correct sizes for our plans. What I'm doing is taking my trace paper and I'm simply laying it on top of my floor plan, just a little, but I'm leaving plenty of room above the actual drawing, because the actual floor plan, because this is where I will be placing my elevation. So I want to give myself plenty of room above this area that I'm going to be mimicking. I have went ahead and taped down, again, another 4 corners to the trace paper that is laying on top of my floor plan. We're going to start by drawing a line. The first line that I will be drawing will be a straight horizontal line across my paper, somewhere up above. The line that is drawn here will represent my floor line. So I'm going to write in here, floor line. Okay? We are going to be creating that border for our drawing, our elevation. So now that we have our floor line, we now need to have our ceiling height, because we know that the measurements and that the things that we see in the elevation drawing are our room heights. So what I'm going to do is, using my 1/4 inch scale, because this drawing is drawn in a 1/4 inch, I am going to simply place my 1/4 inch scale on my floor line, and I'm going to measure to a standard room height. And our room height for this space will be an 8-foot ceiling height. So at this time, I have my 0 lined up to my floor line, and I'm going to measure up to the number 8, make my mark, and then simply move my parallel bar to my mark and go ahead and draw my next line. So now we have our ceiling height. For this room or ceiling line. And that is a measurement of 8 feet. I will also like to close off the area again with I have my floor line, my ceiling line, and now I need my left and right walls to create that square box or rectangle to encase my elevation. So the areas that will be included in our elevation will be the end of the wall here. So what I am doing is I'm just making a simple mark to show that line of this end of the wall is in my elevation, or encompasses my elevation. And then also on this end, these 2 areas of the interior walls encompasses my elevation drawing. So what I'll be doing is taking my triangle, lining it up with those marks, and then I'm going to simply bring this line up lightly to show that wall thickness at the end of the cabinets there. And I'm just using a very light line. I'm coming down to the other end and doing the same thing. I'm just bringing these lines right up. So now we have a border that is around the elevation, or where the elevation will be encompassed. At this time, for some, it may be easy to simply go ahead and begin to erase these lines that lie in the middle. It's up to you if you want to erase lines at the end or erase lines in the beginning, or as you go. And I'm just going to erase the lines just a little, because I do not want the lines to get mixed with the other elements that I will be drawing. I'm going to go ahead and follow the direction and do what we know. We know that the border lines on an elevation drawing are drawn dark and heavy. So I'm just darkening my lines in. I can go back later and begin to post shade them in, or I can do them now. I'm going to choose to just hold off for a moment, maybe post shade a little bit here to end that. But I can come back on the end and continue to post shade them once I have my elevation completed. At this point, now we need to create the elevation of these items. We need to know what it's going to look like when we are physically standing in front of this kitchen area, and what it looks like if it's in a 2D drawing. front of you now is the 2D image of the kitchen. This is what we will create. So let's go ahead and do that. To get to that finished product, we need to begin to pull lines up the same way we did for our outside walls or the housing or border lines that encompasses our drawing. So I would like to start, and I would suggest to always start with your base cabinets. At this point, I would simply take a mark and mark every point. So we have base cabinet from here to here. And then this area is our dishwasher. So we're going to make a small mark there. And then we know that our sink begins. So we're going to make a mark for our sink. Right now, at the moment, we are not concerned. Let's go down to the bottom or maybe up here to get the edge of that sink cabinet, because these are going to be cabinets. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up with our upper cabinets. Our upper cabinets are when we're going to take the points and marks from the hidden lines. But right now, we're worried about the solid lines of our base cabinets and things that are along the bottom of our kitchen. Now that I have my marks made, I'm going to continue to make them across to the other side. So I'm coming to the other side of my sink and just giving myself a little guideline or a marker. This whole area on the side that sits between the sink and the stove is one piece. So we're going to just make that mark at the edge of that stove. And then on the other end of the stove. And then again here, this does not go all the way through. However, this is a cabinet. And then obviously we have our wall. So we can make that right here, or we can use that same line that is already created for us. Using my triangle, I already have this side of the cabinet, which is where the wall ends, or the cabinet meets the wall. So I can move over to the next point and draw a light line and follow it up. And at every point, I will do the same. And I'm simply, again, using my triangle, drawing light lines up. If you need to start close down on the floor plan, that's fine. But if you can see and you can start somewhere in that area, you can do so there. And again, we already have that line drawn for our wall. So now we have a ton of lines, vertical lines going up our sheet. With this information, we have now placed the stove area, the cabinet, sink, another cabinet, your dishwasher, another end cabinet. But now we need to create the height of them. We know that our base cabinets and stoves have a height of 3 feet or 36 inches. So what you're going to do at this time is you need to draw the horizontal line that will put our heights in. So I'm going to take my 1/4 inch scale, because remember, this floor plan is drawn at a 1/4 inch. Place it on my floor line, and you can place it anywhere. Find my 3 feet mark. Create a mark for it. And then move my parallel bar up to that mark and draw in the horizontal line for my 3 feet. Let's get it right on that. So now I have begun to throw in my cabinet counter height. We also know that within this area, our cabinets and counters heights measures to 36 inches or 3 feet. Our dishwasher height is 34 inches. So we can again place our 1/4 inch scale, measure up to 34 inches, which is just under 3 feet. And sometimes what I like to do is just leave a small marker to just draw in a line for my dishwasher height. Now I put the dishwasher height line in because what you're about to find out is that it is right at the edge of your countertops. If you look at your home, if you have a dishwasher at home or anywhere else where you see a dishwasher, you will see that there is just a small gap in between the top of the countertop and where the dishwasher top is, and it is held together with a small bracket. So now that we have our cabinets heights at 36 inches, we know that our countertops usually have a thickness of at least 1.5 inches. So if you take your 1/4 inch scale and you find that 1.5 inch mark, and just mark it simply on, and I'll darken that in. What I did was measure down because the cabinet counter height is 36 inches. The thickness is not above the counter, it is going down. So I measured down 1.5 inches, and now I can draw in my countertop thickness, the line to represent that. So you only want to have your this line drawn in areas where the countertop is found. So we know that the countertop is found on this end. It's not found in the stove area, so we can skip and we can continue right across to the sink, more cabinets, and of course, all the way to the edge of the wall. Sometimes I found it easy if you make a little note and you call this area your stove or your oven range, just so I'll know that I do not want to go in this area. I know that this area is my sink base. And I know that this area is my DW, my dishwasher area. And everything else that is not labeled is cabinetry. Now if I slide my pillar bar down, you can see that this area here, it cuts off. So we need to know, what is this cabinet? This is where you have your profile view of your cabinetry, or your section cut, and this will be shown in an area such as this. Because you have the countertop, this is an L-shaped kitchen, meaning that you have a line and then it turns at a 90-degree angle somewhere, and this creates an L shape. So this particular kitchen layout is considered an L-shaped layout. Because of this L-shaped layout, the cabinetry in this area here, and I'll just go ahead and shade this in, is an area that is not seen. We're not seeing what it really looks like inside, so we're going to show as if we were cutting through that portion of the cabinet. So your countertop does run, but it stops. And then this is probably where we're going to see the lip of the countertop, which we will be creating. At this point, now we have our counter height, our countertop thickness, and our floor line. From here, we want to draw in a toe kick. We know that our toe kicks from the floor up measures about 4 inches. So placing again my 1/4 inch scale, I am going to measure 4 inches up from the floor line and make my mark. Taking my parallel bar, I know that I don't need a toe kick for my stove, and I probably wouldn't need one for my dishwasher. But I do need one for all of my cabinetry. So in those areas of my stove, I'm going to skip, and then also skip in my dishwasher area. So now you have your countertop thickness, your toe kick, all encompassed in your beginning of your elevation drawing. Now it is beginning to start to look more realistic. From here, we have our base cabinets situated and ready to go. Now we can begin to move to our upper cabinets. At this time, some may want to leave their vertical lines. Some may choose to erase them. You can erase them in situations where the upper cabinets do not meet the same distance as the base cabinets. 8 times out of 10 for uniformal looks and more of that aesthetic appeal, there's a uniform of having your base cabinets and your upper cabinets in line with each other so that it reads neat with the eye. Every now and again, you may come across kitchen designs where sometimes the designers get a little risky and change up the cabinets. In our situation, everything is pretty much placed on top of each other, and it is pretty consistent with the base cabinets. And I know this because I will again do the same thing as we did for the base cabinets. I will go to my upper cabinets and make those points right where a cabinet started, all the way across my page. The only place where it is different is at this end. Everything else is consistent across. And the reason why it is different at this end is because this is a cabinet in an area, again, that turns to create our L shape. So what I need to do is go ahead for the upper cabinet only, draw another vertical line. I know my upper cabinet will start somewhere in this area. So what I'm going to do is, instead of bringing it all the way from the bottom up, I'm just going to start just above my countertop and draw that line up. Because this now becomes the side of the upper cabinet in this space. And you will see that come together as we move along here. When we begin to place our upper cabinetry, we need to know how far or what is the distance between our countertop and the bottom of our upper cabinets. But before doing so, our countertops usually have some type of backsplash or bullnose backsplash that has a particular measurement. The measurements will range from about 4-inch backsplash, a 6-inch backsplash, or even an 8-inch backsplash. It's really up to the designer and what was created. For this drawing, I would like to go ahead and place a small 4-inch backsplash. And I just put my scale, my 1/4-inch scale, on the line where the top of my countertop is, and that's the top of my 36-inch mark. And I measured 4 inches, made my mark, and I'm going to go ahead and move my parallel bar to that mark. And I'm just going to have my backsplash obviously run across the full part of my kitchen. From the backsplash, an upper cabinet starts or has a distance between 18 inches. So you will measure from the top of your backsplash up 18 inches, and that will give you the base or the bottom line of your upper cabinets. So taking my, again, 1/4-inch scale, I'm going to measure that 18 inches or 1.5 feet. Excuse me, yes, 1.5 feet. Again, I'm placing it right on the top of my backsplash. And I'm going to measure over 1.5. And that is my 18-inch mark. Taking my parallel bar, and I'm going to draw my horizontal line. Now I have my upper cabinets. They obviously go all the way up to the wall for this particular drawing. I can measure the height of my upper cabinets here. And these upper cabinets measure to 36 inches, which is exactly the height that I want for my upper cabinets. 0 to 3 feet or 36 inches. At this time, you can simply take your eraser and begin to erase the lines that lie in between your backsplash and the base or the bottom of your upper cabinets. You can also erase the lines that extend above the ceiling line, just to kind of clean your drawing up so your eye does not become confused. Now we have some things going on in our drawing. It is now becoming to look more realistic. And we can now begin to see that 2D image of our elevation view. At this time, this is where you can go and begin to put in your cabinetry lines to show your door directions, your outlines, and I'm going to just draw that briefly here. If I know that this is my oven range, this is how it looks. Or maybe I have an oven that has a 2-door double oven. So it opens at the top and also opens at the bottom. We have our knobs that are up top for our particular oven range that I'm choosing to draw. And I'm just simply sketching it in. It's nothing that is scaled in this area right now. This is more of that freehand sketch neatly. My dishwasher, I know what a dishwasher usually looks like. So we have my digital area here, and it may have another bar down at the bottom that is used to open it. And then obviously that backsplash is up on the top. What I did is I have my oven range top at the backsplash because this is one of those stoves where the knobs are at the top and not in the front of it. So it's up to you what you want it to look like. Actually, I'm going to erase a little small area for my dishwasher. And you can use either your giant eraser or you can use the eraser that is found on your mechanical pencil. I erased a little bit of my, there we go. I'm just going to neaten that up. I erased a little bit of my backsplash, so I had to put it back on, and there we have our dishwasher. We know that this is the sink base for our kitchen where we would have our sink faucet. So at this time, you can begin to now write in the measurements of each of these base cabinets. If I measure, I can see, again, on my 1/4 inch scale, I can see that this base cabinet here measures 1.5, which is 18 inches. So what I like to do is just simply go ahead and begin to pencil in these measurements, because we are drawing this now, or tracing it and pulling our lines up and creating the shell at 1/4 inch. However, we're going to have to redraw this at a 1/2 inch scale. So it is now time for me to know all of my measurements. I know my dishwasher should be 2 feet or 24 inches as a standard with dishwashers. And this is 12 inches. It's a 12-inch base cabinet. Most sinks are 36. We have a 42-inch. We have our stove that is 30 inches. We have another 18-inch. And then our side cabinet is 24 inches. So now I have written all of my measurements going across. Because again, these are the same up above, I'm pretty sure that we can figure this part out as to what each of our upper cabinets measures to be. What I want to do is draw your attention to our profile portion of the elevation drawing here. And this is the area here in which, again, we make the L shape. What I'm going to do is go ahead and darken in my profile area, because the profile area is what stands out. We know that this is a side view of a cabinet. It is not the door of a cabinet that goes all the way to the wall. This is where our countertop turns. And it turns at the top, and then also at the bottom where we have our countertop. We want to create that side profile. Countertop ledges are about 1.5 inches. So I need to measure 1.5 inches in to show the side lip of my countertop. There we go. And actually, that side lip is not into the cabinet. So I do apologize. It's actually outside of the cabinet. There we go. Onto the side of the original 18-inch cabinet. And then we can darken our line. And the same for our toe kick. Our toe kick from the side goes back 4 inches. So now we have our side profile darkened in for our side of our cabinet that turns. It's very important to not do what I just did and try to draw a line. Use your tools so that you can have the straight lines on your drawings. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up my drawing there. Erase what's needed, not needed, and put my 18 inches back in there. So this area here is our side profile or our section cut. What I like to do to single that out is simply take my triangle, and what we do is we hatch it. And hatching it means just taking my triangle and drawing some lines through to separate it out from my elevations. And I would do that for the top and the bottom portion of the cabinet. Okay, so we have just hardened our lines for the profile, and then also we hatched it so that it separates from the drawing. From here, you can begin to either move directly into converting this to a 1/2 inch, which I will show on the next video, or you can go ahead and begin to hard line the image of what you want your cabinetry to begin to look like. And that means you can begin to put in the door swings and things of that nature. As you move forward to put in a door swing, for instance, we have a cabinet located here as our 36-inch sink base. We know that 36 inches is 3 feet. So we want to have 2 cabinet doors on our sink base. What we will need to do is find the center. So 1/2 of 3 feet is 1.5 inches. Make that mark. Again, I was using my 1/4 inch scale. Go ahead and draw a line to give me my middle mark. Of course, it would not go all the way down to our toe kick. It would stop at the toe kick, and it has started at the lip of the counter. And then we're going to create our swings in the direction of which way is our door open. We want our hinges to be found where the point is. So at this time, I'm taking my triangle and I'm going to simply draw a line actually, I do want to use this end to give you more of a better angle. Moving that out of the way and flipping it. And I can do the same for the opposite side. And remember, your door swings are shown with a dashed line. So to create that dashed line, you're going to use your eraser shield. And I'm simply going to erase where I have the small holes. I'm going to take my eraser shield. I'm going to lay the pattern of these circles on one of my lines. And then go ahead and erase where I have these circles. And now I have created a dashed line. And I'm going to do that all the way around. For my hinges, my door swings. Remember that the hinge is at the point of the triangle. So this means that the door opens out towards you or the person standing in front. Our knobs or handles will be located in the inside of the triangle. So when you are creating your door swings and showing the direction in which a cabinet door opens, remember that the hinge is where the point is located. The hinge or hinges is considered to be the hardware, the mechanism part that opens and closes your closet or your cabinet or your interior house door or exterior house door. And if we were going in the automotive world, also the hinge is also the door hinge or the mechanism on a car door as well. Now that we have created our elevation view at a 1/4 inch scale, now you can begin. You have all of your measurements and your sizes. You can take the same information and convert it to a 1/2 inch scale. Should you choose to stay and finish out your elevation view at a 1/4 inch scale just to really get a feel of what things are going to look like, this will be the finished product. Taking all of this information and converting it to a 1/2 inch scale is what you will do to create the elevations for your project number 3.